why I eat the way that I do. Why do I eat the way that I do? Why do I eat a plant-based diet? Why have I chosen to not eat animal waste, animal shit? I eat a plant-based diet because it makes me feel good. My body takes well to it. My mind takes well to it. When something works for you, you keep on with it. And that's what I do with my diet, right? So, plant-based diet. Fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, potatoes. A lot of greens, a lot of fruits, a lot of veggies. That's what it is. And it does me well, right? One thing I want to bring up right away is that I'm no longer constipated, right? I don't know how many of you are, or how many of you experience constipation on a regular basis, but it sucks. I haven't had constipation for years, right? So that's the first thing I want to point out. Second thing is acne is gone now that I've switched over my diet. Mental clarity, right? The foods that I'm eating are generally lightweight, so to speak. There's not a whole lot of real heavy energy going on within the diet, within the foods that I eat. Whereas if you look at, and this will segue into the next point, which is why I don't eat what I don't eat, which is the easiest example to look at is fast food places where they pump out a ridiculous amount of meat on a daily basis. Well, you got to ask yourself, where's all that meat coming from? I mean, 99% of the people that eat at these fast food places have never seen the food where it came from, where it began, where it was grown. They never see the animals that they're eating. They only see the end product. So you got to ask yourself, where does all this meat come from that's being pumped out and consumed on a daily basis? How is it being grown? Where is it being grown? And man, I haven't seen these places firsthand of like where they're growing, where they're raising these animals. But I hear a lot of statistics about how many animals are killed every single year, and the horrible conditions in which they go through, right? Trillions of animals are slaughtered every single year. Many animals are slaughtered every single day, right? And these animals, they're grown, they're raised for profit, right? Essentially, the system set in place is animals for profit because the people will consume. It's just been tried and tested over the century with certain... It's just how it's been in the last century. The whole food system is kind of messed up in that sense. But to stay on track here, these animals that are raised for profit, the people who are raising them, since their end goal is profit, they don't give a damn about the animals or what they go through or how they experience life. They don't give a damn about anything about the animals. They only give a shit about the end product, right? So when you raise animals in little boxes and force them to grow to a certain size so that you can extract the highest amount of meat from that animal, that animal, look, animals are just like you and I, right? So that animal was brought into this world forcefully, was raised forcefully, and forcefully slaughtered. Imagine if that were you. Imagine if somebody brought you into this life to do that to you. That would suck, right? You would experience a lot of trauma, you would experience a lot of negative energy, and that's what these animals are experiencing, a lot of negative, traumatic, heavy energy, you can say. And if we know anything about energy, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transferred. So these animals, they take on a lot of that trauma, they take on a lot of that heavy energy. Man, it gets encoded within their DNA. That heavy energy gets absorbed within their bodies, right? And then when that chicken or whatever gets slaughtered and the meat gets extracted and processed and slapped on a McChicken or a hamburger for you to enjoy, you're consuming that. You're digesting that heavy energy, those traumatic imprints, those traumatic energetic imprints. You take that on and you digest it, and it's heavier, right? It's heavier energy. And it's not to say that any of this is good or bad, that one diet is better or worse than the other, but when you consume heavier energy on a day-to-day basis, it takes more of your own energy to process that heavier energy, which I see as being less efficient in this day and age in terms of allowing yourself to progress and evolve as a multi-dimensional being, right? Because you break down that meat, it's already heavier energy than fruit or a vegetable, right? And our subtle bodies, right, our chakras that go from our crown to our root, once that meat is broken down and broken down into all the chemicals, what breaks down those chemicals? What breaks down the chemicals that were broken down from the meat itself? Everything's got to filter full circle, right? Your chakras are what break down the chemicals that were broken down. And so your chakras have to do more work to break down that heavy energy. So I'm going into a bit more detail than I wanted to here, but this is just where we're at. So all in all, I eat the way that I do. I eat a plant-based diet, as it's overall more efficient for the growth and progression of this journey through this life for myself, as it requires a lot less work on behalf of my energetic digestion system, my physical digestive system. And it doesn't require that we, the people of this earth, have to, forcefully raise these animals for our sustenance. There are absolutely so many alternatives that require no force at all, but rather that require proper care, proper nourishment, and ultimately, provide better nourishment for our bodies, for our minds. And that seems to be a more efficient route to take. So, and I just really want to make a point. I really want it to make it known to people who may not know that it is important to question where your food comes from. It is important to question who is producing the food that I am consuming. It is important to question how is the food that I am consuming being raised or grown. Because you will find the answers yourself. If you truly wish to know, the information is out there. The information is on the internet. So I think that's going to be the title of this video, is where does our food come from? Question it. Question it. And if you truly do question it, the answers will seek you. And the answers might astonish you if you have not been aware of the system of feeding the masses within the last century here, as it's not generally a pleasant thing. So that's it. Question your food sources. Peace.